first, and it was pretty convincing in the end, but they were able to find skirmishes and find fights that even got them praise, I think, from 369.
For sure, and I feel like this series has more unknowns to me than most series, because I'd say the way that Loud got their advantages in their loss to TES was by like over-grouping and just mobbing mid lane and kind of surprising them with their aggression. But then also like the way Fnatic demolished GAM was a lot through team play and playing side lanes properly. So like, I do agree with the desk, Loud is going to be the favorites here, but like how they choose to approach the game is very unknown for me. Like, do they just play what they're comfortable with and like mob around the map and start fights, or do they see like, hey, wait a minute, this GAM team might be really disorganized. Let's play like smart and reserved and macro. Like, I just don't know what we're gonna see, but I'm hoping that it's just gonna be that head-smashing team fights that are most exciting.
I'll be honest, I love me a bit of macro League of Legends, but after 2 games of it, I would like some more fighting in the early game at least. Senna locked in here for Loud to kick off. Root undefeated on that across the course of the CBLOL so far this year. Rumbleby and Kalista their bans, Varus, Lucian and Jax the bans by GAM, and they will lock in Taliyah Tristana to kick us off.
Tristana was a big pick for them in that first series. They wanted it to flex, but now it's like with the Taliyah, it could actually still be a flex. You can move Taliyah to jungle, Tristana to mid, Tristana also to bot lane if you want to. So a little bit of flexibility still. They want to keep it open with that pick. And honestly, I feel like with the way this team has been drafting, they're just going to be picking Tristana every game that is up.
Yeah, seems like it. EasyLove did not play it during the CBLOL, but we have seen it a couple of times already by Emo here at MSI. We'll see if EasyLove decides to pick it. And it does, if you pick it in the AD carry role, tends to be a more aggressive lane. You want to be jumping in. You want to be trying to get that explosive charge reset so you can then jump around the fight a little bit more. Senna Nautilus is what they'll have to deal with in the bot lane. Azir locked in for Tinowns, who is having a superb MSI so far. I mean, Tinowns often, when you get to the international stage, is the shining light for the CBLOL and continues to be a great carry in the mid lane for Loud.
Yeah, lots of international experience for Loud, so they can definitely move on from this stage in the bracket. They have done that in the past. To them, they need to make sure they're not looking past GAM before trying to actually advance to the bracket stage, but they're 1, 2, 3 in the draft. Like, no one's going to be unhappy with that. Senna Nautilus, one of the most dominant AD carry support, mainly because unlike other Senna lanes that just kind of need to stay bottom lane, like the Senna can actually move wherever she wants to, and once the Nautilus has 3 points in E, becomes this like undivable tank under the turret. So it's just such a flexible duo in the way that they can actually play the map, and then it's still strong scaling. Like it's a little bit of an overpowered combo, so people are going to be really happy that they have that early.
Senna Naut, Senna Tom Kench, the ones we tend to see. Nautilus has a little bit more CC. Twisted Fate and Kasante banned away by Loud. Olaf and Poppy removed by GAM. They'll lock in the Renekton, saving their last pick for either AD carry or jungle.
Yeah.
I wonder what we will see from them, whether Levi will be put onto something a little bit more aggressive. Does like the Lee Sin, and with the Poppy ban, obviously that's good into Rakan and into Renekton and into Tristana, but maybe we see a Lee Sin last pick here, and Tristana flexes down into that AD carry role.
Yeah, I'd like to see, I mean, honestly, whatever you're comfortable with, the Sejuani doesn't have the pairs at the moment. There's no melee mid laner that makes Sejuani particularly powerful at the moment, so Lee Sin makes sense. Second most played.
But Loud agree, and they'll take it away. Croc will be on the Lee Sin now, looking towards top. If you want to go for a lane swap, you can go for something like the Ornn, just put Robo on a tank.
Team fight.
It's so strong, isn't it? You already look at that Loud comp. Like if Root is able to stack up well on the Senna, you are so powerful when you get to those mid to late game team fights.
Yeah, you have to be a little bit careful in the early game with Azir Ornn, but if you make it through to even mid game, your team fighting just becomes so dominant. So really, I think Loud is definitely playing this a little, I'd say a little conservatively with the Ornn, not trying to take a more aggressive thing in the top lane, especially because Kiaya is one of the strengths of this GAM roster. So I think Levi and Kiaya are going to try and play like really top side, and maybe Emo can contribute later, and it's going to be about Robo just holding on early game, because I think if he does, Loud has a much better scaling team comp.
Totally agree with you there. If we were in the earlier portion of 2024, have you heard of a lane swap, Jatt? Why would you ever play top lane if you can just put Ornn bot lane by himself and let the Senna stack for free in a side lane?
you think they're going to lane swap?
I think it's possible.
Oh, yes, I agree. It is possible.
I just like trying to be excited about them, you know? I think a lane swap could work. You get yourself away from the bot lane Tristana, which can just jump in. I don't think there's too much threat on the Ornn if he is under that tier 1 in the bot lane. Yes, Zhao has damage, Renekton has the stun, but you have the Bellow's Breath. You can avoid some of that CC, so I think there's a possibility for it. I'm not saying it's a probability for it.
Yeah, I'd say Tristana is kind of the lane swapper because you have enough turret damage with Trist that you can
with the explosive charge.
Overpower a little bit of the early
Okay.
game turret fortification. So it would have to be GAM that initiates it, but then GAM is also like the least coordinated team of the teams we have left.
I don't think GAM will initiate it. I think maybe Loud will, but we'll see. Yeah. Maybe I'm just so excited about lane swaps that I see them everywhere.
I know. Once,
you know?
The thing is, once you research something, you just want to talk about it.
I just want to talk about it all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Like this one year, I researched Cosmic Crisp apples, and I probably told everybody in my life about them.
What's the Cosmic Crisp
We'll
apple?
get into it if the time comes, but we actually have the start of the game now. Just a teaser. If this game gets out of hand,
I'm standing here with bated breath.
Don't worry about it.
Root and Croc are going to look for a little bit of invade. Robo here as well. Kiaya coming round on the flank. Croc will spot the fact that Levi was in that bush and force him away. Obviously, Senna can just roam with the jungle early on if you want to get a few stacks. Do kind of want her in a lane as well. Into something that is melee. Makes it a lot easier for her to stack up. The Tristana and the Rakan not too easy to get early stacks on. But although the lane swap, it gave me the promise of materializing, it feels like it is not going to now.
Yeah, and I do think like we might see fewer lane swaps later in the tournament. Like if both teams acknowledge that they know how it works, then no one's going to actually want to initiate it unless there's a team comp that really gets favored by one. So like the fact that there's no hyper-aggressive bot lane
Jinx Lulu
that would push someone to want to lane swap, and there's no...
Oh, you mean like a... Okay.
Yeah, exactly. So like I think... And we've discussed it before, but I'll just retell it for the viewers. Like, one of the things that forced lane swaps to happen over in Europe is, like, when you have a Kalista Ashe that is just going to completely deny you in the first 3 levels of the game and then dive you under turret, hyper carries become, like, unplayable. So if you practice lane swapping, you can pick a hyper carry, send a top lane, and then you're just going to have better scaling. But then there's the added benefit of if the other team actually has no idea what they're doing in lane swapping, you're going to win the game automatically.
Yeah.
But as soon as they actually study it, put the adequate amount of prep in and start matching you, then you kind of start questioning why you're even doing it in the first place, and it'll stop again. Because like there really are mechanics in the game to make it disadvantageous. That's how it disappeared in the first place. But 5 years later, it's back again, I think, because the collective understanding of lane swapping has diminished in the competitive scene. It's like, it's actually fascinating to me from like the same way baseball is fascinating to me.
Yeah.
Like, I love talking about baseball stats, but I don't like watching baseball.
Okay.
So I love talking about the theory of lane swaps, but I don't actually like watching them, if that makes sense.
Thankfully, you don't have to watch it this game.
It's
it does
great.
make sense, Jatt.
So we get both.
Yeah. It's true. We get to see our feature matchup in the top lane presented by Mercedes-Benz as well. Robo versus Kiaya. Kiaya got the early push here, kind of to be expected. Renekton into Ornn. We'll be looking for that empowered Ruthless Predator stunt. From time to time, Robo will be trying to avoid it with the Bellow's Breath, as that matchup does tend to just go in favor of the... I mean, it goes in favor of the Renekton most of the game until the Ornn gets tanky enough, but Ornn very much picked much for his teamfight presence rather than for his laning phase.
Yeah, and I want to see if Kiaya can, you know, get enough good trades in that they can maybe force a dive. It's going to be long from now that action needs to happen. I do think the fact that Croc is path bot to top would potentially give him a window if he wants to really invest in something, but I think he's just going to full clear, take Scuttle Crab, recall, and then just go about his day.
Robo stepping past here. That's a very good trade from Kiaya, but as you say, like, Levi's not really on the right side of the map for this. He passed from the top side to the bot side, looking perhaps for a dive on the Senna Nautilus, which is always a possibility. Could play around mid as well, put Tinowns behind, so often he's the carry for this Loud lineup, and looks like that's where Levi is right now. Put a ward in here, you complete your first clear, you check if the Razor Beaks are up, you put a ward in, and then you base, and that's exactly what Croc's doing on the other side of the map. Croc, though, not immediately going for the tempo reset, instead looking towards that top lane, trying to force Kiaya out of the lane. Obviously, there's a possibility of killing here, but Robo just wants to get the wave forward. Kiaya with a great dodge. Sonic Wave's going to hit Kiaya, able just to slice and dice his way to safety.
Yeah, I think if the Ornn knockup lands there, maybe they can get a flash. I don't think that's actually a gank that kills. I think they're just hoping that buys enough time for Robo to shove the wave and get an actual decent base in. So job done there for Croc. It will mean that he's going to be a little slow to get to his camp respawn, but it's not going to affect him that much.
You can see Levi already on his Crocs. Croc, though, a lot of vision already on that bottom side of the map. We'll see if he tries to avoid that or whether he is willing just to step through it. Could look for a bot lane gank, but the reset's happening for Elio and EasyLove. Hook down. Elio tried to dash away, can just battle dance. The wave now stacking up, and perhaps this calls Croc and Levi down towards the bottom side. You can see Emo already roaming across as well. RedBert and Root will want to crash this. Emo on his way across. EasyLove and Elio pulling RedBert and Root further into the fight. RedBert has the flash, Root has heal and flash of his own. TP in just for protection, but they're going for the engage as RedBert dodges the seismic shove. Some tap shoes on him to be able to escape that knockback. Croc looking to see if Emo takes a greedy route through the jungle to get back to his lane, instead just resetting. Levi is here, will meet up with Croc control ward in the bush. The reaction from GAM, good, but Loud just want to keep GAM around for a little bit longer and then get back to their lanes.
Yeah, Tinowns, I think, probably would have been better served just teleporting mid lane and getting the early push on that wave, but I understand why he went bot because it was an extended fight. And the question we asked in Champion Select, Medic, of how Loud is going to approach this series, from the looks of this early game, very conservatively.
Yeah.
They have picked excessive scaling. The pressure is actually on GAM to make plays happen right now. And even RedBert, like, he's only doing that hook because he sees the opportunity of a recalling member in the bottom lane, and he can just delay the recall and mess up their tempo. They're very, very conservative with their play right now, which is, I think, still a path that can lead to victory.
See RedBert TP back into the bot lane to get that wave pushing out. Root's going to join up with Croc here to try and take some of these souls away from the grubs. What you see good Sennas do, really accelerates you through to those higher stack points. Seismic shove on Tinowns, but the wall his friend as he gets yeeted into it. Root actually can't get onto these back to Absolution, these mist fragments. Croc can dash across the wall, has to burn the flash. Call of the Porch God from Robo. He sends a train going through GAM as Emo locked up with it. He'll fall first. Kiaya has to flash away. Flash chased by Robo. The slow on Kiaya, will it be enough? Flash into the last embraces. Root should be able to kill off Kiaya here. Takes it. It's Robo actually in the end securing it. 2-0 in favor of Loud.
What a nice fight there by Loud. When you have a Renekton top lane, and this used to be with Rift Herald, but it's now apparently a grub fight, and you use your level 6 power spike on Renekton and lose, that's really hard to come back from. So Ornn landing that massive shot through the entire team fight, getting the first blood on Emo was nice, but I think the bigger thing is the fact that Robo gets a kill, takes out Kiaya. They get 2 plates in this top side. He has an experience advantage on the Renekton now. This is actually a point with the Bramble Vest and whatever his next recall is, as long as he doesn't die to Levi here, that Robo can actually start winning this lane now. It's no longer just standing back as Ornn. He can start actually pushing the Renekton.
There's GAM to look for the play initially, but Croc able to flash away, and then the Call of the Force God just locks them up in the fight.
Oh, okay, that was, I don't know if that was intentional, but that was pretty sick. Like the fact that the Azir ult misses, but the flash
flashing
away
into the
Ornn ult.
Did he buy a ticket? Nope.
Packing. Chef's kiss right there.
And that's the coordination we come to expect from Loud, especially in these skirmishes. We talked a bit about GAM having these 3 players who've only joined them since playoffs. It can make it a struggle in fights like this because you're not all on the same page. Loud now out to a 1,500 gold lead. RedBert looking for the hook here. Root's going to come across. Already at 28 stacks. Just farming up on that Senna, and RedBert doing a good job of just keeping this lane in the bot lane, making sure that EasyLove can't move around too quickly because he has to answer the push.
And also on the side of Loud, like that Rift Herald, not Rift Herald, right? That grub fight was more of a counter punch than an actual aggressive move, which is totally fine. Like they do not need to be forcing with Ornn, Azir, Senna. But now that they've won that fight, you can see Croc very smartly. They get bot prio, they move this over to the Drake, they have mid push. They should be ready to fight if GAM decides to contest this, but otherwise they can just pick up this Drake.
Yeah, Robo no TP, nor has Kiaya. Hook's gonna land onto Levi. Elio looking for the flank position here as Levi dashes in. Flash away by RedBert, was worried that Elio could just jump on him on that Rakan, but the Drake's going to be secured by Loud. They'll get the 3 grubs and the Dragon, all the neutrals going over to the CB Lol.
Yeah, this has got to be a really comforting start for Loud fans, knowing that this is an elimination game, and their goal, I think, is to make it through to the bracket stage. Take a look at this top lane. Robo doesn't get the knock-up, but he's still feeling pretty feisty. He has so much armor.
Kiaya has no flash. There's the first knock-up into the brittle dominance by Kiaya. Ult for ult exchange. Robo much healthier right now as Kiaya will look in. Cole the Meek after the slice and dice. Doesn't use it. Didn't have it up at that exact moment. Uses it afterwards on the wave. Will heal up just a little bit.
I mean, super well played. He's got a teleport advantage. He gets the Renekton ultimate out. That means Renekton can actually not impact the game until his ultimate is back again. Robo's going to scale better anyway. Really well played by Robo's Ornn.
And Loud just playing things nice and patiently.
Yeah.
You know? As you say, counter punch around the grubs, got 2 kills, made a little punch around the Dragon, but it was all just about forcing Levi off, trying to get a bit of a chunk. Managed to do so, and now they are about 1,500 gold in the lead. Root's coming up towards the top lane to help push this out. RedBert still answering bot. Grubs up in 23 seconds. I love the movements from Loud. They're playing the map really well.
Yeah, I really love Senna. This is why Senna Nautilus is so good. You leave the Nautilus bot with the Bomby Cinder. He can wave clear perfectly. You can see GAM like kind of realize that just now. They're like, wait a minute, we can't move this Nautilus even if we want to. We should probably get up towards Grubs, I guess. But then, like, RedBert's teleport's going to be up pretty soon. If there's any delay at this Grubs, he's going to be able to get up there no problem. So, yeah, that was feeling comfy.
And the question is for Loud, do you start the Grubs or do you wait for RedBert? And those are the 2 things that can happen in this situation. You should wait, but sometimes teams get a bit overeager and they're like, oh, RedBert's on his way, let's just start it.
True.
Here, we see them waiting, which is exactly what they should do in this situation.
Loud's locked in.
Yep.
They're absolutely locked in this game. They're not just saying that they have the Nostr's Tooth on Azir, let's just go anyway. They don't even need to expend the Nautilus teleport. EasyLove is completely out of bot lane, not getting experience. Now the Nautilus is here, he hooks in, they're going.
Crescent Guard already used. Knockback with the Dragon's Rage kick as well. Levi locked up, depth charge onto the backline. Elio just trying to charm some people, but there's no one biting as Loud chunk out Levi, chunk out Elio, and turn their eyes towards the Grubs.
Yeah, most likely going to be a 6 grub game for them here. People are moving towards bot lane, and the nice thing with RedBert here is he gets like 30 seconds to make whatever play he wants to if he really, like, they could even set up a dive on Renekton if they're feeling really greedy, but they actually don't have to right now. They don't need to expend that Nautilus teleport advantage. He can just walk down bot lane as Croc finishes off these grubs.
So Emo walking down towards the bot lane to get that push out. He's going to stay around it. Smart from Loud to send Tinowns to answer him. RedBert obviously can wave clear, but has gone Warden's Mail, Balmy Cinder, and a cloth armor, so really wouldn't do too well into the Taliyah. So Tinowns is the one to answer bot. RedBert catches mid, Grubs secured by Loud. They have 6 of them. They've got the first Drake. In 2 minutes is the next Drake. Expect to see them using their push in the top side, pushing mid, to then get some vision into GAM's blue side jungle and set up for this next Dragon.
Yeah. 6 Grubs. A lot of the time, and this is, they've obviously buffed Grubs in the last few patches.
That they have, yes.
So they're, I don't know, like 25% more powerful, I'd say, killing turrets. It's so hard to actually know what they contribute. There was these really weird stats I found, or rather, the NA stats guy found after I asked the question. So I didn't find them.
I bet you asked the question.
Yeah, I asked nicely, and then Leo found out.
Sat here in your ivory tower like, please, sir, can you find me the Grub stats?
Awaited the results. But in the LCK, teams with 6 Grubs lost like 60% of their games.
Okay.
And it's like, I mean, that's a little bit of a red herring.
Yeah, because how many dragons are the enemy team taking while you're taking Grubs?
Like, clearly, Grubs aren't bad. Like, they only make your turret damage higher. But oftentimes, what you have to spend to get them ends up not being worth it. But in situations like this,
they didn't spend any.
That's awesome.
The only deficit is in AD carry. There's about a 500 gold lead for EasyLove over Root, but that is balanced out by the fact RedBert's 1.1k ahead of Elio.
Yeah.
So you've invested nothing and you have had something for free. Capitalism in a nutshell, if you can invest.
Surprise, you're rich.
Loud shareholders very happy right now, it seems, Kobe. As they as picking up their dividends wherever they can. Drake up in 30 seconds. Resets start to happen from Loud. Root resets, gets himself 4 wards on that Bloodsong. Double control ward for him as well. Croc has a control ward. There is a little bit of vision in the Loud jungle around that red buff. Perhaps GAM can look for a pick. At the moment, Robo's waiting. the most decorated players in the history of the LLA. Robo looking to see if Emo oversteps a rookie on the international stage, but Emo just pushes out the wave and backs away.
Yeah, Dragon will be up in like 5 seconds, I'd say.
I think the risk for Loud is if you go for Drake now, you are giving up the Scuttle Crab. The Rift Herald, in fact, the flash hook lands. EasyLove tries to get away, but Croc landed the Sonic Wave and smacks EasyLove down. Loud now pushing mid, and they'll turn their eyes to Drake. They're not going to contest the Rift Herald.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, they might just take this turret. They got 6 grubs. It's pretty difficult for a support to defend it alone. They're at least getting as much damage as they possibly can into it. Levi will take a consolation prize in the Rift Herald. Kiaya's going to get a little bit of top lane damage here, but it is more of the same here for Loud.
Tinowns pushing in bot as well. Emo having to react to mid to clear out that wave means that Tinowns gets the full tower in the bot lane. Kiaya trying to trade onto Robo, should be able to take this tower, so it will be turret for turret. Yep. But in the end, second Drake for Loud in exchange for that Rift Herald.
Yeah, no perfect game to be had here. RedBert actually in trouble, no flash.
Doesn't have the death charge, it has a hook. Dredgeline his way to safety. Levi looking to see if he wants it. The charm going down as the quickness lands. Root has to flash away. Emperor's Divide. Tinowns takes the second tower as he continued his push in the bot lane. The collapse begins with the Weaver's Wall. Tinowns on the wrong side of it. Root the first target, but Croc comes across. Emo able to dodge away from that. Tinowns leading them on a merry chase through the jungle and just dashes his way to safety. In the end, Loud almost punished for their greed in taking the tier 2, but not quite.
Yeah, the gold lead's only going to extend for Loud. I want to go back just a little bit. Levi's going to be kicking himself there, not standing in front of RedBert's hook there, knowing it's a flashless Nautilus. I think they could have secured at least that kill, but not to be. Then that pressure that they used buys enough time for Loud to kill that interior turret, get a huge amount of gold. You can see MasterCard landing comment snapshot right here, 1,500 gold. For Tinowns, our guy that they talked about on the analyst desk for performing so well in their first series defeat, but definitely stepping up and playing great here in the first game.
The game hasn't been about him at all, right? It's just he's farmed well and he's taken towers, done exactly what he needed to do in this situation. Currently sitting 0-0-1, only 13 CS up, but because his team is in the ascendancy all the way across the map because he got that tower in the bot lane, or both of them. In such a strong position. Now Loud grouping up as 4 in the mid lane. Robo does have the TP, but he's fighting with Kiaya right now. Elio looking for that flank position. Jumps onto Tinowns, flash away, the hook into the depth charge. Knocked back with the seismic shove. TP comes in from Kiaya, counter TP by Robo. Kiaya has to run away immediately, and the tower almost falling. Croc looking for it, but Loud can now step up with their frontline tank and take out the turret. They put up a Emperor's stun disc as well. And in the end, Loud win out on the fight again already.
Yeah.
4,500 gold ahead.
This is
one-sided.
This is like, what is this reminding me the most of?
When the Empire invaded the Rebel base on Hoth.
Oh, really?
You know, yeah. Loud are just here with the AT&Ts. They're destroying all the turrets.
Yeah.
The Rebels, you know, GAM are just like running away, trying to escape.
So actually, this reminds me a lot of 2020 TL.
Okay, I mean, that wasn't where I was going, but yours is more pertinent as a reference.
Yeah, I mean, impact on Ornn, Brock's on Lee Sin, Jensen on Azir, Core JJ on Nautilus. Took a while for us to pick up the Senna, but, you know, tactical played a little bit later.
Yeah.
But there's something good and bad about winning like this.
The good thing is you've won a game.
Yeah, that's the really good part.
Yeah. Kiaya's getting caught out here. He's going to die. Good roam from Tinowns to get up here. Cleared out the vision. In the end, GAM have to find picks, but they really can't find anything on this map.
It's like, we won a lot of games that year.
Sure.
In 2020 as DL. 15-3. But we didn't win the split, and we didn't make out of groups at Worlds.
Okay.
Right? And, like, I really, this is like a regular season game. Like, you're doing this because it's a really good way to beat teams that you're better than.
Sure.
You don't, and the reason that is because, like, you're going to be better than all of them individually, which that team was in lane. But you don't actually need to have, like, great teamwork or great understanding to win with comps like this against inferior opponents, which is what it's looking like in this live game. And this is a slow game. I'll talk about Cosmic Crisp later, but I think this is going to be an important point. It's like, I almost worry that this is teaching them, like, almost bad habits, if that makes sense. Because, like, I feel like there are so many margins in this game that they're just not pushing because they feel like they don't have to. but if they want to make it to bracket stage, they're going to have to. And it's like one game. This is a stupid point, but I do want to bring it up.
I think it's a good point. I think that, in my eyes, if I were on Loud right now, I would say, let's not experiment in an elimination series.
This is a great game one strategy.
Yes. This is like, win this game. If you want to mess around a bit in game 2, if you want to try something a little bit different, as Croc is caught out, Dawning Shadow going off, didn't quite give him enough shield as he will be killed off. Elio takes the kill, RedBert has to flash away, dodges the seismic shove, Robo looking for the flank, has the Call of the Forge God coming in 3, 2, 1, won't need to use it yet as Kiaya's still flanking, Robo's going to flash, the chase continues as GAM will find another, and now GAM with 2 kills. Dragon up in 20 seconds, Rift Herald up 10 seconds on Baron. Do you just rush down the Baron?
I think they're going to try. I think it's the window for them to pull it off. I mean, that's a massive fight that they just found. We've been kind of lulled to sleep in this game, and I feel like Loud was as well. And now, with Robo down for 19 seconds,
there's Hex Gates.
They can't kill this Baron fast enough. Loud is going to stop this.
Elio is in a good flank position, doesn't have the quickness, but he might just try and keep Croc away from this. Kiaya dashes in, they get one, Roots down now. RedBert trying to get away, no flash on him, remember, as he burned it in the previous play. Croc joins the battle, Tinowns putting all the damage down from the side, but he just doesn't have the DPS right now. Croc looking for that re-engage, TP behind as Robo's going to join the battle with the Call of the Forge God. Will his prayers be answered? Croc jumps onto Levi, knock-up lands, but only onto Elio, who can flash and dash and escape the battle. In the end, Levi will fall, but GAM have begun to even out this series. The Baron begun by Loud. Roots on his way. Do you have the damage? Tinowns does have the Zhonyas and the Nashes complete. Do GAM know it's happening? I
mean, they should, but they don't have immediate vision on it. They have double TP, actually. Emo can come as well as Kiaya, who has the Sterix. He's incredibly tanky. Get in there, Renekton.
Kiaya's looking for it. Has the flash. Last embrace. Slows him up. Dominus going in as well. Croc and Robo on the Baron. It falls down to 1,000 on the backline. The Emperor's Divide comes out. Croc able to secure the Baron. Now Robo having to try to get the hell out of there. The chase continues. The quickness in. The last embrace will stop Elio in his tracks. Death charge out by RedBert. He'll sacrifice himself for the good of the team. Tinowns tries to put the damage down from across the wall, but he doesn't have the mana to do so. RedBert's going to die. Reset the EasyLove, not in time to get onto anyone else. Loud get the Baron after a messy sequence of events.
And this game did just get a whole lot more interesting. Thank goodness GAM has accelerated that for us. I mean, risky call there by Loud to try and take that Baron. I think that the safe call would have actually been to just take their third Drake, get themselves on Soul Point, because no one was taking that Baron after they were able to push off the fight. But because Levi was dead, they knew they could at least secure it, right? Which is what they did, but then they did lose the fight afterwards, so the gold ends up being remarkably close in this game as it snapped back a little bit.
For Loud, the benefits are you did get the Baron. You almost lost it. Croc was able to secure it against no jungler. You lose the third Drake. GAM getting their first of the game, but Loud are still ahead where it counts. You still have a 2,500 gold lead for Tinowns. He's on his way to his next Titan, likely a Rabadon's for that Azir. You are still ahead for RedBert as well, and the gold difference between EasyLove and Root isn't that monumental. What can Loud get out of this Red Bull Baron power play? You have a couple of Baron buffs remaining. Levi looking for Tinowns, but Croc, Root, and RedBert are on their way to protect. Kiaya's pushing in the bot lane. The wave cleared out means that Loud have to wait for the next. Robo in the mid lane is pushing for this tier 2 as well. Now he can come across, has that Call of the Forge God. Such a long range ability. The Weaver's Wall tries to separate the minion wave from the tower, but a cannon minion will do quite a lot of work here. EasyLove dashes in, doesn't have the flash, knocked up with the Call of the Forge God. The Dawning Shadow, the knock-up. Oh, Robo! Can't quite get the kill as EasyLove burns the flash, the Bella's breath. EasyLove the minions! It's Rob's day today as Loud continue to push in top. The reaction from GAM not there in time as Robo shows why he's at the top of the CB LoL. Quickness in. Elio looking for the engage, can't land it onto anyone. Gets the double quickness on the backline, but that charm is just not enough. Kiaya kicked in with the Dragon's Rage. He tries to trade onto Croc, but the inhibitor should be the target. Seismic shove, lands on 2, the knock-up with the grand entrance. The chase in, the Emperor's Divide. Sterax, Levi, dashing forward. GAM holding on for their lives. Their fingertips on the edge as Loud begin to push them off. Who's king now, say Loud as they force GAM away.
That's what we like to see, Medic. What a battle we saw. Robo getting the kill onto EasyLove, and then everybody else says, well, if they're going to throw down, we may as well on the top side. Loud come out barely on top of both engages. Let's watch this one more time. So Robo definitely semi-runs it down to start this because he wanted to finish the turret, didn't respect the damage of Tristana, but watch this. So gets the brittle, detonates it. It's the Senna ultimate that always gets you. But then like right here, it's the Baron minions are so strong that it's not even a tick from Robo. And how did that last Tristana not do anything? It was like a pebble against Robo. There's no way EasyLove thought that last auto wasn't getting a kill.
And then Elio looks for the engage here alongside Levi. Can't quite get the knock-up with the charm. The kickback onto Kiaya, not the target you want, but watch Emo's seismic shove here. Absolute perfection. Lands it on 2. And then the chase continues. The Emperor's Divide just separating the fight enough for Loud.
Who got the Tinowns bounty? Okay, it's going to be Sin Zhao. Would have definitely loved to see that go over to Emo, and I mean, honestly, EasyLove, but he was already dead. The people in that fight. So, Loud actually in a huge amount of control.
Yeah.
For as spicy as this game has gotten. Their dragon stacking is slowed down, but I think the scaling is turning on. It's a 4,000 gold lead, but it's also probably an additional couple thousand because of the upgraded Ornn items. And they're going to continue trying to push. They're just going to try and take down more inhibitors while they have one exposed.
And got that top lane inhibit, which is so important because it's EasyLove who has to try and answer it. Levi counter-jungling right now, but his base begins to lie in tatters. This inhibitor tower in the bot lane getting chunked out. Elio looking for the engage. Robo still tanking. Dredge line onto Levi. Looking for that backline. Croc going in. Dawning Shadow across. Robo low. Levi the same. Crescent Guard though, keeping him healthy enough. Seismic shove. Only lands onto Croc. The grand entrance flashed away by Elio. And Robo finds the knocker. There's 3 for Loud. And they'll look to make it an ace. The flash away by Emo will let him live for another day. But his teammates cannot say the same. Loud now pushing in the top side, looking for the win.
That is a nice way to finish for Loud. Some high execution team fights where they're winning on the margins. Robo really with the 1v1 on the Trist, kind of 1v1 on the Trist in mid lane, and really just the re-engage on that team fight, making this a swift 26-minute victory.
It was patient, it was methodical, it was composed until it wasn't, Jatt. It got very messy near the end. But Loud do thrive in the skirmish. That's what we praised them for earlier at MSI. And even though things were slower early on here, they played to their outs, they played to their win cons, and using that early game lead, were just able to win out in the end. We'll see if they can continue.